Well, welcome to Yoga for All by the Yoga Funk. I'm your host, Jake.
And I'm Hannah.
And today we're going to be talking about the connection between yoga and nutrition. It's our 7th episode.
Yes, seventh one. And we're really excited to explore how what we eat can impact our time on the mat. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned yogi, this is for you.
You know, I've had times where I ate way too much before class, and let's just say twisting poses became a whole lot harder.
Totally. But I also remember this one time I had this awesome smoothie before practice, like spinach, fruit, chia seeds, the energy and flow. I felt, wow.
So we're here to break it all down. We've got tons of research and articles on yoga nutrition, a whole stack. And today our mission is to help you understand how food choices can seriously up your yoga game. No matter your level.
We'll cover what to eat before and after yoga. And we'll even get into Ayurveda. That's this, ancient Indian system of medicine.
Sounds good. So first up, pre-yoga nutrition. What should we eat to fuel our practice?
Before we hit the mat. The goal is easy to digest foods that give us long-lasting energy.
Makes sense. We don't want to feel heavy or sluggish during our yoga sessions. So what are some examples of those easily digestible foods?
Keep it simple and light. Banana with almond butter is great. Or a smoothie with spinach, fruit, maybe some chia seeds to keep you going.
Oh, I love both of those. Banana and almond butter is a classic. And smoothies, so many possibilities.
And they're so good for you. And the best part is your body can easily digest them. So you can focus on the poses, not on digesting a huge meal.
Okay, so we know what to eat. What about what to avoid before yoga?
Definitely no heavy, greasy, or spicy foods. Imagine trying to twist with a belly full of fried food.
Ouch.
Yeah. Not the best combo.
Feel the heartburn already just thinking about it, right?
That kind of meal will just sit in your stomach. You'll feel slow and could even lead to indigestion during practice.
The fried foods are out. What about caffeine, friend or foe?
When it comes to yoga, caffeine is tricky. It gives you that quick energy boost.
I do love my coffee.
But it can also make you jittery and mess with your focus.
So maybe not ideal for finding that calm and presence we look for in yoga.
Exactly. Plus, caffeine can get your digestive system going, and you don't really want that during yoga. If you're sensitive to caffeine, skip it before class.
Good advice. Now, timing. How long before class should we eat?
At least 1 to 2 hours to digest before you get on your mat.
So we don't feel full or uncomfortable.
Right. And while we're talking timing, let's not forget hydration.
Oh, yes. Hydration is super important. What should we be drinking?
Water is always a winner. Keeps you hydrated and it won't fill you up.
Simple, effective. Any other options?
Herbal teas are nice too. They add some flavor and they're hydrating. Just make sure it's not too sugary or caffeinated.
Great tips. Okay, so that's pre-yoga. But what about after? We've got our sweat on. How do we replenish our bodies?
After yoga, your body needs to recover and rebuild. So focus on protein and healthy carbs.
Protein and healthy carbs.
Got it.
Why are those so important after yoga?
Okay, so protein. It helps to repair and rebuild muscle tissue. Think of it like giving your muscles the building blocks they need to get stronger after a workout.
That makes sense.
And the carbs, those replenish your energy stores. Basically, fuel for your body to bounce back and feel energized.
So protein for muscle repair, carbs for energy. Got it. What are some examples of post-yoga meals that fit that description?
A quinoa bowl with roasted veggies and some grilled chicken or tofu, if you prefer, is a great choice.
That does sound delicious and nutritious. Quinoa, it's a complete protein, right?
Yes. It's got all 9 essential amino acids and a good amount of fiber.
Awesome. Okay, so quinoa bowl is a great option. What are some other post-yoga meals we could try?
Greek yogurt with honey berries and some granola is another easy one. The yogurt has protein, the berries have antioxidants, and the granola adds some healthy carbs.
Those all sound pretty easy to make too, which is great for busy folks like me.
Totally. And let's not forget hydration. Again, super important. Um, After yoga, you lose fluids when you sweat. So replenishing those electrolytes is key.
Electrolytes. Can you remind us what those are and why they're so important?
Sure. Electrolytes are minerals that help regulate fluid balance in your body. They're crucial for muscle function, nerve transmission, and hydration.
So, got to replenish them after a sweaty yoga session. How do we do that?
Water is always a good start. Coconut water is amazing because it's naturally full of electrolytes. Um, it's like nature's sports drink.
Love coconut water. It's so refreshing. Any other ways to get those electrolytes?
You can find electrolyte drinks or tablets. Just watch the sugar content. Some of them can be pretty high. So if you're going for like a Gatorade or a Powerade, maybe stick with the 0 calories one. Um,
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, so we've talked about replenishing energy and repairing muscles. Are there any foods that can specifically help with recovery and reduce inflammation after yoga?
Definitely. Turmeric, ginger, and leafy greens are all known for their anti-inflammatory properties. Great for after a workout.
Yeah, I've heard about turmeric and ginger for inflammation. How do they work and how could we easily add them to our routine?
So turmeric has this compound called curcumin, which is like a superpower anti-inflammatory. You can add it to smoothies, soups, or even sprinkle it on roasted veggies.
That's easy enough. What about ginger?
Ginger is another anti-inflammatory rock star. Grate it into stir fries, add it to your tea, or even just chew on a piece of fresh ginger.
Love that. And of course, leafy greens.
Can't forget those, packed with antioxidants and nutrients to support your body's natural recovery.
Spinach, kale, collard greens. So many good choices. Okay, so we've covered post-yoga meals, but what about quick and easy snacks for when we're on the go?
Trail mix is a classic. It's easy to take with you, gives you a good balance of protein, carbs, and healthy fats. You can even make your own with your favorite nut seeds and dried fruit.
Trail mix is always a winner. Anything else?
A protein smoothie is another good one. Blend some fruit, protein powder, and some greens. Quick, easy, and nutritious.
Love a good smoothie. Super convenient and packed with protein and nutrients. Any other ideas?
Hummus with veggie sticks is always a good go-to. Simple, satisfying, and good for protein and fiber.
I'm a big fan of hummus. You can pair it with so many different veggies. So, Hannah, out of all these options, what's your personal favorite post-yoga meal? What do you go for after a...
Tough practice after a really good sweat. I love a simple salmon with rice, roasted sweet potatoes, and asparagus.
That sounds amazing.
It's delicious and it's perfect for recovery. Salmon's packed with protein and omega-3 fatty acids. Sweet potatoes have complex carbs and fiber, and asparagus has tons of vitamins and minerals. And cabbage has that pickle.
Perfect combo of flavor and nutrition.
What about you, Jake? What's your go-to post-yoga meal?
You know, I'm a sucker for a hearty lentil soup with some crusty bread.
Oh, that sounds so good.
It is. It's warm, comforting, and really fills me up.
Lentil soup's a great choice.
Exactly. Perfect for nourishing and replenishing my body after a good yoga session.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about food, but yoga itself can also have a big impact on digestion.
Absolutely. Some yoga poses, especially twists and forward folds, can really stimulate your digestive system.
I've definitely noticed that some poses feel like a gentle massage for my internal organs.
Exactly, like you're wringing out any stagnation and making space for healthy digestion.
Okay, for those who might not be familiar with these poses, let's walk through some examples.
Sure. One simple pose that's great for digestion is the seated twist. So imagine you're sitting on your mat with your legs crossed, then twist your upper body to the right, bring your right hand behind you and your left hand to your right knee.
I can picture that. I can already feel a little squeeze in my abdomen just thinking about it.
Right, hold that for a few breaths, then twist to the other side. That twisting motion helps to like compress and massage your digestive organs. And
I love that one. Gentle but effective. What are some other poses that are good for digestion?
cat-cow is another great one. You start on your hands and knees. Then, as you inhale, Arch your back like a cat, tucking your chin to your chest. As you exhale, drop your belly towards the floor, lifting your head and tailbone.
I can see how that movement would help with digestion. It's like a gentle wave through the abdomen.
Exactly. It helps massage those abdominal organs and promotes peristalsis. That's the wave, like muscle contractions that move food through your system.
Okay. Seated twist, cat cow. Any other poses we should know about?
Oh, child's pose. Such a good resting pose that can also help with digestion. You kneel on your mat, bring your big toes together, sit back on your heels, fold forward, rest your forehead on the mat, and extend your arms in front of you.
Ah, child's pose. So calming and restorative.
It is. And it also gently compresses your abdomen, which can help relieve bloating and discomfort.
So, seated twist, cat cow, and child's pose. 3 great poses to support digestion. Are there any other yoga practices that can help our digestive system?
Don't forget about your breath. Deep diaphragmatic breathing can be like a massage for your digestive organs.
I've heard of diaphragmatic breathing, but can you explain it in a way that's easy to understand even for beginners?
Sure. It's all about breathing deep into your belly, not just your chest. To practice, put one hand on your chest and the other on your belly. As you inhale, feel your belly expand like you're filling a balloon. As you exhale, feel your belly contract like you're letting the air out.
Okay, I'm trying that now. It does feel different from how I usually breathe. So, how does this type of breathing help with digestion?
It stimulates the vagus nerve. That's a major nerve that runs from your brain to your abdomen. Stimulating the vagus nerve activates the parasympathetic nervous system.
Okay, stimulating the vagus nerve, activating the parasympathetic nervous system. What does all that mean and why is it important for digestion?
The parasympathetic nervous system is your rest and digest system. It slows your heart rate, lowers your blood pressure, and basically tells your body to chill out and focus on digesting.
So, when we do diaphragmatic breathing, we're basically telling our bodies to relax and digest.
Exactly. And the great thing is you can do it anywhere, anytime, not just during yoga. You can practice while sitting, walking, or even lying in bed.
Good reminder. I'm definitely going to try to do more of that. Okay, so yoga itself can help digestion. What about the food we eat? What can we eat to keep our gut happy?
Gut health is so important,
I've heard so much about it lately.
and for good reason. A healthy gut is key for overall well-being.
So, what are some key things we should focus on when it comes to food and gut health?
Fiber. Fiber is your best friend for gut health. It keeps things moving through your digestive system and feeds the good bacteria in your gut.
What are some good sources of fiber?
Fruits, vegetables, whole grains and legumes. Things like berries, leafy greens, oats, brown rice, beans and lentils.
Got it. All the good stuff.
Exactly. And speaking of good stuff, let's talk about those good bacteria that live in our gut. They play a huge role in digestion, immunity, and overall health.
I've heard about those. What are they exactly, and how do we make sure we have enough of them?
They're called gut bacteria, or sometimes gut flora, or even the gut microbiome. Basically, trillions of tiny organisms living in your digestive tract. They help break down food, make vitamins, support your immune system, and fight off bad bacteria.
Wow, that's incredible. How do we keep those good bacteria happy and thriving?
Probiotics, they're live bacteria that are good for your gut.
Okay, I've heard of probiotics, but what exactly are they and where do we find them?
So, probiotics are live microorganisms, mostly bacteria. They're good for you when you eat enough of them. Think of them as friendly bacteria that help out your gut. Microbiome,
So they're like backup for our gut's good bacteria?
exactly. They help keep the balance in your gut.
Okay, so where can we find these probiotics?
Fermented foods like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, and kimchi are great sources.
Love yogurt and sauerkraut. It's great to know they're so good for you. What if you don't like fermented foods?
You can always take probiotic supplements.
Good to know. Okay, so fiber and probiotics for gut health. Any other dietary tips for a happy gut?
Don't forget to hydrate. If you're dehydrated, your body has a harder time moving food through your system. That can lead to constipation. So drink plenty of water throughout the day, especially if you're eating a lot of fiber.
I definitely need to drink more water. What about how we eat? Does that matter?
It does. Mindful eating can really help. Instead of rushing through your meals, slow down, chew your food well, and pay attention to your body's signals of hunger and fullness. So,
Mindful eating is something I need to work on. I tend to eat while I'm doing other things.
we all do it sometime. But even small steps towards mindful eating can make a big difference.
All right, we've covered a lot about digestion. Now let's talk about Ayurveda. How does that connect to yoga and nutrition?
Ayurveda and yoga go way back. They're like sister sciences, both originated in India thousands of years ago and share this holistic approach to wellness.
Okay, cool. Tell me more about the basics of Ayurveda and how it relates to food.
So, one of the main ideas in Ayurveda is the concept of doshas.
Doshas, I'm not familiar with that.
Doshas are these energies that make up our constitution. They govern everything from our physical traits to our mental and emotional tendencies.
Okay, so doshas. Tell me more. What are they exactly and how they affect us?
In Ayurveda, there are three main doshas: Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. Each one is connected to certain elements and qualities.
3 doshas. Got it. So what are they like?
Okay, so Vata is associated with air and ether. Think qualities like dryness, coldness, lightness, movement and change, like the energy of, well, movement and change.
So vata, air and ether, dryness, coldness, lightness, movement and change. What about pitta?
Pitta is fire and water. It's all about heat, sharpness, intensity, intelligence, and determination. Like the energy of transformation and digestion.
Fire and water. Heat, sharpness, intensity, transformation, digestion. Okay, got it. And kapha.
Kapha is connected to earth and water. Think heavy, stable, moist, nourishing, and grounding. It's the energy of structure and lubrication.
Okay, so we have vata, the energy of movement, pitta, the energy of transformation, and kapha, the energy of structure. How does all that relate to our health?
We all have all three doshas in us, but one or two are usually stronger.
Like our personal recipe of doshas.
Exactly. And just like a recipe, when our doshas are balanced, we feel good. But if they're out of whack, that's when problems start.
How can we tell if our doshas are balanced?
Lots of ways. You can take a dosha quiz online, talk to an Ayurvedic practitioner, or pay attention to your body and emotions.
Okay, cool. So how does all this dosha stuff relate to food?
Each dosha has certain qualities, and the foods we eat can either balance or imbalance those qualities. So by understanding your dosha, you can choose foods that help bring you back into balance.
I'm sorry to get it. Can you give me some examples?
Sure, let's start with Vata, because Vata is dry, cold, and light. People with a lot of Vata often need to eat warm, grounding and nourishing foods.
Foods that are the opposite of vata qualities. Right. What are some examples?
Think cooked veggies, hearty soups, stews, warming spices like ginger and cinnamon, and cooked grains like brown rice and quinoa.
Those all sound warm and grounding. What about pitta? What balances out that fire?
Pitta is all about heat and intensity. So people with a lot of pitta usually need cooling foods like cucumber, cilantro, coconut water, and sweet fruits.
Ooh, that sounds refreshing. Perfect for a pitta imbalance. What about kapha? What kind of foods balance out that?
Heavy energy for kapha, lighter, drier, and more stimulating foods are best. They might like pungent spices like ginger and black pepper, and lighter grains like quinoa and barley.
So if we understand our dosha, we can choose foods that help us feel balanced. What else should we know about Ayurvedic nutrition?
Well, there's also this idea of the six: sweet, salty, sour, bitter, pungent, and astringent.
6 tastes. That's a lot. I usually just think about sweet, salty, sour, and bitter. What about pungent and astringent?
Pungent is like a hot, sharp taste. Think chili peppers, ginger, and garlic. Astringent is drying, puckering, like cranberries, pomegranates, and green tea. So, ginger, those citrics.
Oh, okay, I get it now. How do these 6 tastes fit into Ayurveda?
In Ayurveda, a balanced diet includes all 6 tastes in the right amounts. Each taste affects the doshas differently. For example, sweet is grounding and nourishing, but too much can mess with kapha.
So it's all about finding the right balance for Ayur dosha. That sounds complicated.
It can be. But Ayurveda is all about individual needs. What works for one person might not work for another. It's about finding what brings you into balance.
Okay, I see. We've covered a lot today: pre and post yoga, nutrition, digestion, and even Ayurveda. Got any practical tips for busy yogis who want to eat healthy but don't have a lot of time?
Meal prepping, it's a lifesaver. Spend some time on the weekend prepping ingredients or making full meals for the week.
I know I should meal prep, but I always run out of time. Any easy meal prep ideas?
Overnight oats are great, or top veggies for salads. Cook a big batch of quinoa or lentils to have on hand.
Those are good ideas. Overnight oats. Love that. What other time-saving tips do you have?
Planning your meals around your yoga classes is helpful. If you have a morning class, eat something light and easy to digest a couple of hours, then have a bigger meal after class to refuel. And then
Makes sense. So if I have an early class, maybe a banana with almond butter before, and then a quinoa bowl afterward.
perfect. And even when you're busy, try to practice mindful eating. Instead of gobbling your food down, slow down, savor each bite, and pay attention to how it tastes and feels.
And I am so guilty of just shoveling food in my mouth sometimes.
We've all been there. But taking even a few moments to slow down can make a huge difference.
I love that. Bringing that same mindfulness from yoga into our everyday lives.
Exactly.
I'm feeling so much more mindful of what I eat and how it affects my yoga practice already.
That's great to hear. One thing that comes up a lot is bloating during yoga.
Oh, yeah, I've been there. Stuck in a forward fold, feeling like I'm going to pop.
It's the worst. So uncomfortable, and it's hard to focus.
Totally takes you out of the flow. Besides the poses we talked about, any tips on preventing bloating, especially before class?
For sure, we talked about avoiding greasy foods, but even healthy stuff can cause bloating if you're not careful.
So it's not just about avoiding junk food. We need to be mindful, even with healthy choices.
Exactly. Everyone's digestion is different.
So what are some of those healthy foods that can cause bloating?
One category to watch out for is cruciferous vegetables. Cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, good for you. But they have these sugars that can be hard to digest for some people, leads to gas and bloating.
So maybe not the best pre-yoga snack.
Right. If you know they make you bloat, save them for another time.
Good tip. What about beans and lentils? So good for us, but they have a reputation for, well,
Yeah, beans and lentils are great for protein and fiber, but they can cause gas.
should we just avoid them altogether then?
Not necessarily. Soak them before you cook them and cook them properly. Helps break down the sugars that cause gas.
Soaking and cooking properly. Got it. What else can cause bloating?
Dairy can be a trigger for some people. If you're lactose intolerant or sensitive to dairy, skip it before yoga or go for lactose-free options.
Yeah, dairy can be tough on the stomach. Anything else to be mindful of?
Oh, carbonated drinks, big. No, no. Imagine all those bubbles during downward dog.
Probably not a good idea. Water or herbal tea is the way to go.
Definitely. So avoiding certain things can help. But are there foods that can actually help reduce bloating?
Ooh, that would be great. Like foods that fight bloat.
There are foods with lots of potassium, like bananas and sweet potatoes, can help balance out sodium and reduce water retention.
Potassium, the bloat buster.
Aha, easy to add those foods to your diet. Banana in your smoothie, roasted sweet potatoes on the side.
What about herbs and spices? Can they help with bloating?
Oh yeah, ginger's a natural anti-inflammatory, soothes the digestive system. Ginger tea, or even just chew on some fresh ginger.
I love ginger. Put it in everything.
And peppermint, it calms the digestive system. Peppermint tea, or chew on some peppermint leaves after a meal.
Refreshing and good for you. So, food and drinks can make a big difference in how we feel during yoga.
Totally. It's about paying attention to your body and finding what works for you.
So, we talked about general nutrition for yoga. What about those who want to go deeper? What's the next step?
Ayurveda. We mentioned it before, but there's so much more to explore there.
Ayurveda seems like a really personalized approach to nutrition.
It is. Remember the three doshas? Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. Each one has specific dietary recommendations to help balance your mind and body. It's totally
Right. Like someone with a lot of vata, which is all about air and space, might need more warming, grounding foods.
exactly. Those foods help balance out the lightness and coolness of vata. Cooked veggies, hearty soups, warm spices like ginger and cinnamon. Those are all good for vata.
And someone with a pitta dosha, which is fire and water, might do better with cooling foods like cucumber and coconut water.
Exactly. Cool and soothing foods help balance the fiery pitta energy. They might want to avoid spicy foods, caffeine, and alcohol, since those can make pitta worse.
And what about kapha, the earth and water dosha?
Kapha types usually do well with lighter, drier foods and stimulating spices like ginger, black pepper, and lighter grains like quinoa and barley.
So knowing your dosha helps you personalize your diet. It's not just about following general rules, it's about finding what works for you.
Exactly. And it's about listening to your body and making changes as needed.
So it's about finding what makes you feel good and supports your health.
Are there any resources you recommend for learning more about Ayurveda and nutrition?
Definitely. So many good books and websites. One of my favorites is The Complete Book of Ayurvedic Home Remedies by Dr. Vasant Ladd.
That's a classic. It's got everything.
It really does. Diet, lifestyle remedies for common problems.
And there are great online resources too. Even our website, theyogafunk.com, is a great tool for foods.
Yep. We have articles, recipes, even online courses.
And don't forget about local Ayurvedic practitioners. They can give you personalized guidance.
Yeah, that's a good point. They can help you figure out your dosha, create a plan just for you, and answer any questions you have.
And remember, finding the right approach to nutrition is a journey.
I love that. It's all about learning and growing.
Exactly. Experiment. Listen to your body, find what works for you, and
And don't be afraid to change things up as you go.
absolutely, what worked for you a year ago might not work now. Our bodies change and so do our needs.
So true. We have to be flexible with our nutrition.
And be kind to yourself. It's okay to slip up, to not be perfect.
It's about progress, not perfection.
Exactly. And enjoy the process. Food is meant to be enjoyed, and so is yoga.
Couldn't agree more. I bet our listeners are getting hungry after all this talk about food.
Me too. Let's get into some specific meal and snack ideas to support your yoga practice.
Love it. Practical tips are always helpful.
Okay, let's start with pre-yoga snacks. We've mentioned some already, but let's talk about it a little more. Remember, the key is easy to digest foods that give you energy without weighing you down.
For sure. My go-to is a banana with almond butter.
A classic for a reason. Carbs for quick energy, protein for staying power.
It just works.
And it's so easy to take with you.
What about something more hydrating?
Smoothies, spinach, berries, banana protein powder. Super nutritious and refreshing.
Smoothies are so customizable. And
Totally add different fruits, veggies, nuts, seeds, protein powders, you name it.
And you can even prep smoothie packs ahead of time. Just portion everything out and blend it up when you're ready.
Genius. Love that.
What about something savory?
Whole grain toast with avocado and sea salt.
That sounds good. Great for vegetarians and vegans too.
Yes, avocado for healthy fats and fiber. Toast for complex carbs and energy.
Another savory option is a hard-boiled egg with some whole grain crackers. Protein and healthy fats from the egg and carbs from the crackers.
Simple, portable, and good for you.
So many good options. Now, let's talk post-yoga meals. After yoga, your body needs to refuel and repair.
Big salad with lots of colorful veggies, some grilled chicken or fish, and a light vinaigrette is my go-to.
That's what I'm talking about.
Light but satisfying veggies for vitamins, minerals, and fiber. Protein for muscle recovery.
What about something warm?
Quinoa bowl. Cook up some quinoa and add your favorite toppings. Roasted veggies, chickpeas, avocado, tahini, dressing.
Love quinoa. So much protein and fiber, and you can get so creative with the toppings.
It's different every time.
Lentil soup is another good one. Warm, comforting, and full of protein, fiber, and carbs. And this
Lentil soup is the best, and you can make a big batch and have it all week.
perfect for meal prepping. Okay, now snacks. Yeah, sometimes you just need a little something to get you through, right?
Trail mix is my go-to. I make my own with nuts, seeds, dried fruit, and a few dark chocolate chips.
Trail mix is a classic. So much good stuff in there.
Another good one is Greek yogurt with berries and a drizzle of honey.
So creamy and good.
Greek yogurt for protein, berries for antioxidants and sweetness.
And for something savory, hummus with veggie sticks is always a winner.
Hummus is the best. It goes with everything.
I know carrots, celery, cucumbers, bell peppers. So many options.
Eating healthy for yoga doesn't have to be complicated or boring.
Exactly. Find foods you enjoy that make you feel good and that give your body what it needs.
Jake, we've talked about physical nourishment. What about mental and emotional nourishment? How do those fit into yoga? And
Well-being, that's so important. Yoga is more than just physical poses. It's about mind, body, and spirit.
totally, when we nourish ourselves on all levels, we create balance and harmony in our lives.
So how do we bring that into our everyday life?
Start each day with an intention. Before you even get out of bed, take a few breaths and set an intention for the day. Something like, I will be kind to myself today, or I will nourish my body with healthy food.
Love that. Setting an intention sets the tone for the day.
It's like planting a seed.
And then throughout the day, we can stay mindful of our thoughts, emotions, and actions.
And be mindful when you eat instead of rushing. Savor each bite. Enjoy the flavors. Be grateful for the nourishment.
Bringing that mindfulness from yoga into our everyday lives.
Exactly. And don't forget self-care.
Yes, self-care is so important. How can we make it a regular practice?
Anything that brings you joy and helps you recharge. Warm bath, a good book, time in nature, connecting with loved ones.
Taking time for things that nourish our souls.
Exactly. And when we take care of ourselves, we can show up better for ourselves and others.
So nourishing ourselves, body, mind, and spirit is key for a good life.
Couldn't agree more. It's about creating a holistic approach to well-being.
Before we go to the Q&A, I want to share a personal story that shows the power of this approach.
I'm listening.
A few years ago, I was super stressed, working too much, no self-care, eating, whatever.
I've been there, right?
I was exhausted, burnt out, and unhappy.
Those bad habits can really take a toll.
It was affecting everything. So I knew I had to change.
What did you do?
More yoga, more meditation. I started paying attention to what I ate, and I made time for self-care.
Sounds like you were really taking a simple approach.
I had to. I needed to nourish myself on all levels to feel better.
What kind of changes did you make to your diet?
More whole, unprocessed foods, fruits, veggies, whole grains, lean protein, and I cut back on sugar, caffeine, and processed food.
Nourishing your body with good stuff. Exactly how did those changes make you feel?
It took some time, but I started to feel more energized. My mood improved, and I felt better overall, more grounded, more centered, more peaceful. And
That's amazing. Those changes really work for you?
they did. It was a big turning point. I realized that how I treat my body and mind directly affects my life.
That's such an important message. We have the power to create positive change by making conscious choices.
Totally taking charge of our well-being and making choices that help us thrive.
Okay, Jake, ready to answer some questions from our listeners?
Let's do it.
Our first question is from Sarah. She asks, what's the best way to fuel up for a morning yoga class?
Great question. Morning yoga is a great way to start the day, but gotta fuel up right.
You don't want to be running on empty, but you also don't want to feel weighed down.
Exactly. So for morning yoga, keep it light and easy to digest. Fruit, a small bowl of oatmeal, or a smoothie are all good options.
All good choices. If you have a little more time, you could even have some avocado toast or a hard-boiled egg.
The key is to find what works for you and gives you energy without making you feel sluggish.
And water, always stay hydrated.
Good point. Next question comes from Michael. He asks, how can I avoid feeling bloated during yoga?
Bloating, a common problem that can make yoga tough.
We talked about this earlier, but it's worth repeating.
So, Michael, remember those foods that can cause bloating? Cruciferous veggies, beans, lentils, carbonated drinks, and don't overeat.
That puts extra pressure on your digestion.
And water, hydration, helps flush out excess sodium and can reduce bloating.
Awesome tips. Last question is from Jessica. She asks, are there foods that can help with flexibility or recovery?
Interesting question. Flexibility and recovery are so important for yogis.
They are, Jessica. There's no magic food that will make you super flexible overnight.
But certain nutrients can support joint health.
And flexibility like vitamin C and omega-3 fatty acids.
Citrus fruits, berries, and leafy greens. For vitamin C, fatty fish like salmon and tuna, flax seeds and chia seeds. For omega-3s.
And for recovery, protein is your best friend.
Lean meat, poultry, fish, beans, lentils, tofu, tempeh, all good sources of protein.
Protein helps your muscles recover and rebuild after a workout.
Exactly. Okay, that's all the questions we have time for today. Thanks to everyone who sent in questions.
If you have any questions, feel free to email us and /or just comment on this podcast, and we may have your question on our next episode.
Yeah, our email is hello@theyogafunk.com, or you can message us on our Facebook.
With that being said, thanks for joining us on Yoga for All by The Yoga Funk. If you found this episode helpful, head over to theyogafunk.com for more tips on combining yoga and nutrition. While you're there, check out some of our favorite recipes and meal ideas. Don't forget to subscribe and share this episode with your yoga community. Until next time, stay nourished, stay balanced, and keep practicing